Hi, I'm Neil Corbin. You're watching Red 265.
And we are back. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back to Close Road Motorsport in Barbados. This time we head to the north of the island for the better known Sailor Gully Special Stage. This event was scheduled to give teams a chance to test their vehicles ahead of a very compact 2020 season, with some drivers travelling from as far as the UK to take part. Added to the mix were drivers with new machinery, as well as those debuting on closed roads for the first time in the 2020 season. After a light squishineering session, drivers made their way to the start for several test runs. Kicking things off was Jeffrey Planton, first time on our road since his massive crash in 2019 edition of Sol Rally Barbados, and looking very comfortable at that. It was not only Jeff's first time on our road since 2019, but also his first time in a newly acquired Ford Fiesta WRC on closed roads. Despite looking quite comfortable and back to his blisteringly quick pace, Jeff gives us some insight into what it is like driving the car for the first time, and a comparison between the Fiesta and the Ford Focus.
As a driver sitting in the car, the Focus was a lot softer than this one is. So the Focus would, especially on the rough stages, would just float and suck up everything. This, you're feeling everything, so it's a totally different feeling in the car. We can't tell yet, and even with this stage we probably won't be able to tell how well it's going to do through the fast twisty bends, which is where it's supposed to have its advantage. Yesterday it was just straight away another 90, straight away again, so you can't tell anything from that.
Next up was Rob Swan, who looked a lot more at home in his Fiesta WRC, given this was not his first outing in the car, but nonetheless first time driving on Barbadian roads since 2019. Rob's prior knowledge of the car really showed throughout the day, concluding with him capturing the fastest overall time. We caught up with Rob to hear his first impressions of driving the car on all roads, and how much it differed from his Subaru S12.
I think probably the chassis handling, It's a lot more nimble than the Subaru, and the braking and turning in the tight twisty stuff is really good, But it woke me up. I haven't competed here, as you know, since 19, and we did very little then. So we've had no rallying in the UK either. So just being back in the rally car and on a stage in anger was really good. But the car feels really good. I've got to learn the car, learn its characteristics. But first impressions are good.
Drivers were allowed a maximum of 14 runs over the 3-hour session, with most taking full advantage of a rare non-point scoring closed road event. One such driver was Paul Horton, who had only ever driven his car while competing in the Donegal Rally at the end of 2019. We met up with Paul, and this is what he had to say about his test run.
Good day yesterday. I think we sort of eased our way into it, and me and Matt have a game plan, and that's not to go out and do anything ridiculous and just get comfortable with the car. So we went out, first run a little bit steady, and then gradually picked up our pace. We know we're not going to be on the pace of the other guys, but we know the direction we're moving towards, and we're not really looking at other people, we're looking at ourselves and what we're doing. So we made up time, we got quicker in the places we wanted to. There was improvements to be made, but we're certainly very happy with the day, with the testing we did prior to it, so it was really good.
Securing the top 10 overall fastest time was Avinash Chaturani in his Group A Mitsubishi Evo 6. With a very limited 2019 campaign, his focus was gathering a good rhythm in his first competitive outing for the year. Putting some serious power to pavement throughout the day was crowd pleaser Rhett Watson in his BMW M3. A reduced number of rear-wheel drive competition this year, with brother Logan and fellow competitor Justin Campbell not competing for the 2020 season, Rhett continued to put on a very aggressive showing, required to be at the top end of the leaderboard for 2020. Crowd favourite Suleiman Isuf, better known as Sol, put in a stellar first-time drive in his Ford Fiesta R5 to land an 8th overall on the timesheets in what was one of the drives of the day. More familiar to close road events but missing for quite some time saw the return of Josh Reed in his Toyota Starlet. After a complete rebuild and very limited seat time, it certainly didn't take long to show that spectacular fighting form. Josh would finish the day 7th overall, but surely saving some pace for the next day's doubleheader. Another member of the R5 family was rally veteran Andrew Malaloo, showing that most of the rust had indeed already been shaken off for the most part. Andrew's fastest time of the day was seen slotting 6th on the timesheets. Unsurprisingly, David Coelho proved to be one of the fastest drivers in the R5 category. Having been the first to acquire an R5 on the island, Coelho spent the day more exploring the limits of his car before the season opener. Veteran Roger Hill, previously known for his Toyota machinery, surprised the field as he jumped to the top of the R5 class and on the same second as Jeffrey Panton in only his first outing in the Skoda Fabia. As the day ended, Rob Swan would top the timing sheets with Jeffrey Panton following closely behind. The tone is set for Sunday's doubleheader with the R5 and Super Modified classes fighting for bragging rights. Who will come on top? Stay tuned for more on Red 265 Motorsport.
So, on to the first competitive rounds of the 2020 season. Drivers would head to the east of the island for the Motoring Club of Barbados and Barbados Rally Club Hammer Time 2020 double-header event. The event would consist of 4 runs in each direction of the Henley to Cherry Grove stage. Coupled with being the first event in months and using the popular Kendall Pond segment of the stage, spectators were out in their numbers. Before heading to the stages, we met up with a few drivers to get their take on their test sessions, the event ahead, and their plans for the upcoming 2020 season.
I can tell one thing, the R5 is I'm nowhere near the limit. I know I could push a lot more, but definitely a lot of fun to drive and nice car, man. Very competitive. Guys are really quick. Yeah.
And what's the plan for today?
Just try to feel out the car, learn the stages. First time driving in Kendall, second time driving the car. So just feel the car, try not to push, or get too confident, you know, that's when it all goes wrong. I plan to take part in all the events. I need as much experience as I could get, you know. But yeah, definitely plans to take part in all the events going forward.
We also caught up with the other Isif brother, Ahmed, who gave us some insight into how his experience is going so far.
It was good. Took it easy. Find that the corners were slippery, the whole total different thing to push apart. But it was cool, man. It was nice. First 2 hours we could feel it out. Second 2 hours we can try to come off that time. This course is a lot of high-speed corners, so it all pulls as well. So we gotta take it easy and just, you know, get a feeling for the car.
This year is a full new build, brand new head, brand new internals, new block, everything. So we're coming fresh, and I believe that this is going to be a fantastic combination. We haven't done that many upgrades per se with a lot of the components and whatnot, just trying to use back some of like the cams and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I think so far this engine feels fantastic. And
well, straight into the action we go. Jeffrey Panton was hot on the pace from the word go, as if he had never had a break from rallying. Nonetheless, Jeff would only peek into his fastest time territory on the final run, edging out his closest rival less than a second. Next up was Rob Swan, who was still hot on the pace from the Saturday test event and showing it for the first 3 runs of the day by putting down the fastest time run after run. However, there was still some pace to be found as Panton would outpace Swan by less than a second. clearly stated that the Saturday test was no fluke. Roger Hill would lay down some of the fastest times, in some cases a second faster than his fellow R5 running mates. Impressive performance will see Roger Hill third fastest in the morning direction. Fourth overall and fastest rear-wheel drive in the morning direction was Josh Reed in his Weetabix-flavoured Toyota Starlet. Josh appeared to be fully dialed into the car on each run and showed that despite this being a compact and limited season, he would definitely be the man to watch. Rounding out the top 5 in second fastest rear-wheel drive was Barry Myers, who was still dialling in his Honda-powered Fiesta for most of the day. Into the other top group now, as crowd favourite, veteran and all-round top bloke Neil Corbin would end the morning session as the fastest super-modified one driver. Avinash Tatrani was the fastest modified 4 with his Group A Mitsubishi Evo 6. He'd only get one time run completed in the morning session though. With the necessary straight line speed, Sean Eversley would complete the morning direction as the fastest competitor in Group B. Harold Morley returning in his Porsche 911 would show consistent pace to be the fastest historic 2 car. Meanwhile, Stuart Garcia would become the fastest C2 car, forming a 6-second lead over his closest rival. It wasn't all smooth sailing though, with veteran driver Roger the Sheriff Skeet giving competitors and marshals alike a scare early on in the first run of the event. Thankfully though, he was only sore and shaken, and the Sheriff was in good spirits after the crash. So here we can have a closer look at the times for that morning session. With the first 4 runs in the first direction completed, spectators could shift their vantage point for the afternoon's opposite direction runs, with drivers eagerly awaiting the clerk of the course's go-ahead to start the afternoon session. Upping his game a few notches, Rob Swan would spend most of the afternoon swapping fastest runs with Jeffrey Panton. At the end of it all though, Swan would come out on top, posting the fastest overall time for the afternoon session by less than a second. Illustrating that there was still much to learn following his first outing in the Fiesta, Jeffrey Panton would secure a respectable second to Rob Swan in the second direction. Not to miss out on the spoils, David Coelho would put in a blistering top 3 fastest time for the afternoon session, which would see him outperforming all others in the R5 class. Ending the day as the fastest rear-wheel drive car and the fastest in Super Modified 2, Barry Myers clearly illustrated that his Honda power plant Fiesta ride would certainly be a formidable contender for the 2020 overall honours. Though he didn't find his true pace in the morning direction, Roger Hill would be able to make it a top 5 finish and second overall in the R5 class, in what would be an impressive first debut in his R5 outing. 8th overall, but first in Group A with a few more runs under his belt, was Avinash Chaturani. This time around, Avinash would outperform several of the R5 group machinery. Neil Corbin would slide his way through into 13th overall and first in the Super Modified 1 class in his trusty Toyota Starlet.
Oh, you talk, this man, boy, going to have a greasy pole. In my head, going to have a greasy pole.
An instant crowd favourite for the day, and his first outing would be Ahmed Issouf in his BMW M3. Despite it being the first closed road sanctioned event, Ahmed would finish first in group and 15th overall. Also showing some serious pace in his Honda Civic Type R would be Jamal Brathwaite, who set some times that would see him become the fastest driver in Modified 2 and 16th overall. Closing off the weekend was Sean Eversley, who retained his fastest time in Group B and a 17th overall finish. So there we have it. Let's have a closer look at the fastest overall times for the day and see who came out on top. The season's set to be a cracker, judging from the opening events of 2020. Before we closed off for the weekend, though, we met up with M Sport Rally ace Matt Edwards, who had been on the island to assist Paul Horton on his local event with the car. Here is what Matt had to say about Barbados and the local competitors.
It's great, it's a good atmosphere with all the competitors. Big fun factor, obviously, but the competition is as high as it would be anywhere in the world regionally. So it's great to come and experience that. Just the outing for this weekend, helping Paul Horton in the lovely R5 that we've done a bit of a programme in the UK before he came over here with it, and I was part of that programme, and we've just continued where we left off back there really, and aiding Paul's development towards his Rally Barbados.
And speaking of helping Paul, how is he driving so far to you? He's done an Irish event with it so far, but what's the take of it so far? Has he got a lot more learning curve to go?
I think anybody who gets in one of these cars is a big learning curve. From what they're used to, it's a big step up in what they can do, handling and braking particularly, not necessarily the power, but it takes everybody a long time to actually get to the potential. But Paul's doing really well. We've got a plan and we're sticking to it. We're not really concerned about what anybody else is doing, and I think that's the best way to go. Just learn bit by bit, get the mileage in, and develop with every run.
Down and have a bit of rallying.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a unique test for the drive, unique test for the machine. It's very bumpy. A lot of it's very, very rough and uneven roads, but at the same time you've got the heat to deal with. So it's a good, it's a good test of everything to do with rallying. And for me, that's what it's all about. It's the challenge of, getting the car to the finish to start with. Not alone, just being as fast as you can, but you've got to manage the car and obviously manage yourself in terms of, your hydration, your temperature, and that's a great challenge, so come and have a go.
This video was brought to you by Executive Auto Centre, and from all of us here at the Red 265 crew, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share to all your friends. We will see you again soon. Bye bye for now.